On today's video, we're going to discuss your rights as a consumer, what you should expect from anyone that you do business with, and the riderz Nation Consumer Bill of Rights. Let's cue the intro and get to it. Welcome to the riderz Nation YouTube channel. We talk about everything motorcycle related here. And today we're going to discuss your rights as a consumer. And we've created the riderz Nation Consumer Bill of Rights that can help you navigate through a sometimes treacherous world of deception. So stay tuned towards the end for that. You know, when I started this channel, my biggest concern was content. How was I going to come up with new content week after week after week? I'm not really mechanical, and I'm relatively new to motorcycles. Well, I'm learning that all you have to do is pay attention to your surroundings, and the content will just appear out of nowhere. So far in 2024, Harley-Davidson has redesigned the Road Glide and Street Glide and pushed out an incredible amount of production on both of them. And the sales just aren't there. The economy is not helping them. Then a social influencer exposes them and starts holy hell over DEI training and moving production overseas. And let's not forget the helmet recall nightmare that I just updated. So content is everywhere. And while reading comments and complaints from all of you commenting on my channel, along with some of my personal experiences recently, a little light bulb went off in my head. Which brings us to this video. We're framing this video to fit the motorcycle world, but I believe this can apply to any situation where you are the consumer. Did you know that there's an actual Consumer Bill of Rights introduced by President John F. Kennedy in March of 1962? The four initial basic rights were the right to safety. The assertion of this right is aimed at the defense of consumers against injuries caused by products other than automobile vehicles. It implies that products should cause no harm to their users if such use is executed as prescribed. The right to be informed. The right states the business should always provide customers with enough appropriate information to make intelligent and informed product choices. The right to choose. The right to free choice among product offerings states that consumers should have a variety of options provided by different companies from which to choose. The right to be heard. This right gives you the ability, as the consumer, to voice complaints and concerns about a product in order to have the issue handled efficiently and responsibly. In 1985, the concept of consumer rights was endorsed by the United Nations through the United Nations Guidelines for Consumer Protection, which expands them to include 8 basic rights. The additional basic rights were as follows. The right to satisfaction of basic needs. The right demands that people have access to basic essential goods and services. The right to redress. The right to redress provides the consumers the right to redress provides for consumers to receive a fair settlement of just claims. The right to consumer education. The right to consumer education states that consumers should be able to acquire knowledge and skills needed to make informed, confident choices. The right to a healthy environment. This is the right to live and work in a workspace or home that is non-threatening to the well-being of present and future generations. Now, you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with my motorcycle and why am I watching this? Did you know that you had an actual Consumer Bill of Rights? Well, I was today years old when I found this out. So if you knew about this, drop it in the comments below. Now that we've discussed your basic consumer rights, let's get to the riderz Nation Bill of Rights. Number 1, you are the consumer. It's your money. You earned it. so you are in charge of it. Now, that does not mean that the consumer is always right, because I don't believe that that is true. You should never pay anyone and disregard their advice or opinions on anything, but you're in charge of the situation. And if you feel as though you are not, it's probably time to do business somewhere else. Number two, you have the right to not be treated like a child and scolded or accused of doing anything that you have not done. This is more of a life bill of rights to me. Don't accuse me of anything unless you are 100% sure of the facts. Number three, no business is doing you a favor. You pay them for a service. When your buddy says to you, buy what you need for an oil change, bring your bike over to my house and I'll change your oil for free. Now that's a favor. When a business that you have spent thousands of dollars at says, we're going to do you a favor this time, well, I'm calling BS. You've paid for that favor with past and future business, word of mouth advertising, and loyalty to that business. Call it what you want, but it is not a favor. Number four, you have a right to have an opinion and be able to voice your opinion at all times. It's your money. You get an opinion on how it's spent. Number five, be wary of businesses that speak in absolutes. Example, don't tell me that we did that because we did not. Nah, man. Well, if I didn't do it and you are the only business that works on my bike, then you did it. And that's okay to me. I don't care who you are, how good you are. All people make mistakes. God knows I've made a ton of them. And I'm okay with that, as long as you acknowledge the mistake and fix it. Number six, you as the consumer should not be expected to know all the little nuances and details of the business grading system, like surveys and questionnaires. If you're a business and you expect your customer to fill out a survey a certain way, you may want to educate your customer on how to, and then you have to put your big boy panties on if they don't do it to your liking. Number seven, you have the right to shop around and find the best price. I don't always do this. Sometimes I knowingly pay more for an item or service because I do possess loyalty. If I have a relationship with a business and trust them to do good work, I will pay a little more sometimes. And sometimes I'll look for a better price. That should be my right, and it should not be held against me for exercising my right. Number eight, if you are in a consumer service position, for God's sake, learn how to speak to people, especially someone who spends their hard-earned money enhancing your livelihood. Hey, if you need to charge me more for a service that you provide, I understand, and I empathize with the situation, provided you speak to me like a human being and you show me some respect, especially after I have forked over tons of money and provided you tell me beforehand and provide me with a fair price for the service. So these are the riderz Nation Consumer Bill of Rights. They're formed from stories of bad experiences. We as the customers need to stick together and hold businesses accountable for their actions or lack thereof. Now, don't get this twisted. Everyone can have and does have a bad day. Everyone also does make mistakes. But I have made just over 60 videos since I started this channel, and this may be the most important video so far. And I promise you, it's the one I'm proudest of. Why, you may ask? Because it's basically treat people like you want to be treated. I'm here to provide thought. And I would like every one of you to think about where you are doing business and evaluate how they treat you at that business. If it's not up to the riderz Nation standards, you may want to reevaluate your relationship with that business. I am old enough and smart enough to know that business is a cutthroat place, but there is no place in business for bullying your customers. You never know if you're bullying the wrong customer. So if you work at a business where customer service is huge, like the motorcycle industry, take note. Fix your deficiencies or find a new job. If you are a consumer, demand to be treated fairly and humanely with respect, or take your business somewhere where you don't have to ask for these basic human rights. Look, I consider myself extremely lucky. I demand to be treated like a human being. I demand to be talked to like I'm an adult. I don't like to be talked to like I'm a child. I don't like to be disrespected. I will not disrespect you. So I don't really deal with this, haven't really dealt with it, especially in the motorcycle world. I feel like I deal with reputable dealerships. I'm happy with what they do. When I go to buy parts, whoever I buy parts from, I feel the same way. If it's not up to par, if I feel like I'm being cheated, if I feel like I'm being treated unfairly, I move on to someone else. But for the most part, in the motorcycle industry, I feel like although Harley Davidson is expensive, and everybody knows that Harley Davidson is expensive, Harley Davidson provides me with a quality product, which is the most important thing to me when I'm doing 70 miles an hour on something that has two wheels. Quality product, safety in mind. But with all the comments and all the opinions out there in regards to customer service, I felt the need to put this video out with your basic consumer rights, which really, in reality, should be basic human rights. Treat me, treat your customer like you would like to be treated. Loyalty has to work both ways. Don't ask me to be loyal to your business when your business isn't loyal to me. If I drop tons of money at your business and I ask for something that's unusual or out of the ordinary, consider it. If you need to charge me more for it, I'm okay with that. It's a service. If I want you to provide me with a service, I expect to pay for it. Just don't treat your customers like a child. So that brings us to this. You guys have any bad experiences where you were mistreated by a business that you frequent? If so, please drop it in the comments below and educate all of us. What do you think of our Bill of Rights? Did I leave anything out? Drop it in the comments below if I did. Guys, got to think of it like this. We're a motorcycle community. Whether you're watching videos on my channel or any other YouTube channel, we are all a community. We have to stick together. So if you have experiences or stories that pertain to this, understand that I guarantee you there's people out there that continue to go to businesses because we as content creators frequent them. So the more comments that we get going, the more conversations that we have in general about this, the better off we as a community help someone else. So thank you for checking out this video. I hope this was helpful in some way. As always, be safe and continue to live that dream.